What stopped you from committing suicide? My cat. She was a stray or feral back then and tried to break in through the window because she smelled my breakfast. I planned to do it that day, but the cute asshole saved me. I wasn't planning on being alive in 2022. Trying not to commit suicide. The only thing still stopping me even now as I write this is the knowledge that it would destroy my fiancée. She is on disability for depression. My years of using drugs to escape had really hurt our relationship, but she still stays with me and pushed me to be better. I know if I kill myself it will push her over the edge into a place I don't think she will ever recover from. So I don't live because I want to at this point. I love for her, and I endure in that things will be better one day. I've long since written my suicide note and come to terms with the pain my family will feel, but she is the one person I can't bring myself to hurt any more than I already have. My parrots, and recently too. I've been absolutely horrible and I want to kill myself so bad, but I can't leave them. They're my kids and I love them more than life. The lack of motivation. The net under the golden bridge. I put on my dress blues, for what I thought would be my last time. I raised my 9mm pistol to the temple of my head as if to salute a farewell to myself staring in the mirror. As I slowly began to squeeze the trigger I saw an image. You see, my father and brother gifted me that pistol the year I left the military. It was a Beretta 2, the same one issued to me in the service. I wouldn't want them feeling any guilt for providing me with the tool to end my life. I let go of the trigger and put away my pistol. I decided I would pawn it the next day and buy a different gun to kill myself with. That bought me enough time. A week later at a family event I handed the locked pistol case to my dad. I looked into his eyes for a moment before breaking contact and muttered, "I need you to hold on this for me for a while." All I felt was shame. I felt small and weak, pathetic. We never spoke of it. I felt like he wanted to say something but didn't have the words, so we just hugged in silence. My now wife, then girlfriend, was very patient and supportive and encouraged me to seek out professional help. Years of therapy later and I can honestly say I'm in such a better place. So thankful to be alive and I feel beyond blessed. It wasn't easy and took time. Consistency is everything, like in anything. But I feel like I've finally worked through my military trauma. I'm back to where I was and now get to tackle all my childhood trauma that lead me to join the military in the first place. Ha ha ha. Just kidding, kind of. First time, a random guy walking around the corner at the wrong/right time, depending on how you look at it. Second time, I have a wife and kids, and they'd be really disappointed in me if I killed myself. Every time since, I have a wife and kids, and they'd be really disappointed in me if I killed myself. Oh, also my youngest, less than 10, is also suicidal. And the fact I am still here, and he knows I'm suicidal too, I told him after he told me, is important. Still want to die, on and off. So sick and tired of being such a hideous, useless fraud. My kids. Every day. I hate it here. If I'm gonna be honest, it's my fear of death that stops me every single time. Knowing that suicide is something that I can't reverse and not knowing what's on the other side of life, if there's even an afterlife or if it's all just dark nothingness. That's what really scared me the most. I've dealt with suicidal ideation for years and have had a knife over my wrists, a belt around my neck, held pill bottles in my hand multiple times, but each time, I stopped because I was just so afraid of death. Also my dog at the time was my biggest companion. She was a little brown and white Pomeranian. I couldn't do that to her, and leave her wondering where I went and if I would ever come back. I'm glad that I gave that much of a shit about my dog and that I was so afraid of death because I held on long enough to finally get the help I needed. I'm doing a lot better now. That little dog lives with my parents now, but I wish I could take her with me. My siblings object to me taking her even though my parents don't mind. One day I'll take her with me, she'll always be my little girl. So a bit of a backstory, I met this girl in November 2020, I'm going to call her H. She was struggling in life so much, she couldn't tell the difference between right and wrong. She was blind and heading down a dark path. At that time my friend introduced her to me. I knew her already because I had a crush on her for the 2 years before that. So we started speaking. OFC, we caught feelings for each other. I was giving her so much love and attention. Likewise, everything was going just perfect. I asked if she could speak to her family about us getting married. She did, but it was risky because her brother and my brother were both gangsters and her last ex got beaten up. So fast forward 13 months into our relationship, I had linked her on 5 different occasions, but I hadn't had a chance to speak with her parents about us. I had worked the courage up and spoke to my mom and stepdad about her and even my gangster brother. I trusted her so much, I became blind with love. I didn't think about any of the consequences or possibilities of us breaking up. During these 14 months I became overprotective of her and I didn't want her speaking to other guys or going outside dressing up in revealing clothing. This is normal in our culture. It got to me that I hadn't progressed with this and I became too overprotective, which led me to doing something stupid which embarrassed her and overwhelmed her. This led her to breaking up with me. If anyone has felt the pain when your heart drops and just hurts, well, that happened to me. I couldn't think anymore. I was going crazy. My happiness was just taken. I became depressed and started taking tablets. I lied much more to cover up for being depressed. I wanted to be alone. Late nights like 11 p.m. I would be out sitting by myself in front of a lake just crying and crying. My friends were worried about me but I never spoke to them. One time at around 10 p.m. I was ready to kill myself. I had spoke to H's friend and I broke down to her. I told her I can't live with this pain. My B-day was around the corner as well, so that night I told her I'm going to kill myself. I went home and grabbed the biggest knife. My mom noticed last second and said, "Why have you got that?" But before she even finished I left the house. I walked 15 minutes to a reservoir and sat down. I broke down, just crying and crying. I had a knife ready to kill myself, but for some reason I couldn't do it. I was thinking about seeing my mom crying because her son killed himself. I was thinking about all my friends' reaction to when they heard I killed myself, and a lot of them knew it was over H. Also I feared that God would punish me for doing this to myself, so I stood up and just started walking away crying. It's been almost 20 days since that has happened. I'm still suffering. I cry and miss her every day. I helped her out of a hole, just to be pushed into it by her. I will do it in 5 days. My little sister always knocks on my door when dinner's ready. One day I was in my room, laying on my bed and had a bunch of pills in my hand. I had written a letter, did stuff I had to do, etc. I was ready to swallow the pills, but before I got the chance to, my little sister knocked on my door. "Dinner." I replied that I was coming. I immediately ripped the letter I wrote and put the pills back. The thought hit me, that if I had taken those pills my little sister would come in and see me like that. Now 4 years later, still alive, and my sister still knocking when dinner is ready. Smile. Listening to I'm Sorry by Joyner Lucas. I put my best friend in the shoes of the man in the second verse. The best friend at the funeral of the man who killed himself. I couldn't. I was going put a hose in my exhaust and crank some tunes with one last blunt on my way out. Got stoned and browsed memes for an hour laughing hysterically. Totally forgot about the hose in my trunk and watched the sunset. I now live for memes and sunsets. I can't say it really stopped me from making myself unalive, because I never really tried it. But there is this anime called Codebreaker. In a scene someone is going to such a grief that they say I want to die, and then the protagonist starts choking her. He'd have no problems taking her life, but upon realizing what she was making him do to herself, she begged him to stop, and he did. Then he said, "That's stupid of you to think you could solve things by dying. And if you say that again, I will kill you for real." It's not that we want to die, we just want the pain to stop. An off-duty EMT. My cat, her name was Pebbles. She died a few years ago. I miss her every day, but I'm glad she was there. Where do we go after death? If you are to respond, I am an atheist and do not believe in heaven. Some random lady named Maria. 2 weeks after stomach surgery and a week after I was kidnapped, beaten up and arped. Fled the province to get away. Got a call from a caseworker named Maria. Thank you, Maria. Nerve. I took 11 sleeping pills, but it wasn't enough and I suddenly lost the nerve and couldn't take any more. I forced myself to throw up and cried myself to sleep. The video games and shows I haven't completed. Someone telling me that I should just kill myself. Someone telling me to kill myself, so I told them I'm not just because you told me to. The dog walked into the room and just looked at me. I was 11 and something about the way he tilted his head made me realize I would make other people hurt and couldn't do that to anyone. That was the last time I ever tried. It's been well over 20 years now, but I miss that dog. He was the best of the good boys. I haven't decided yet. I thought of doing it, but got too lazy and decided to binge watch some anime instead. I waited just for 3 AAA cinema experiences a few months away. They were all so fucking terrible, especially Shazam. My friend Phoenix. She helped a lot. I'm not gonna go in depth, cause it was a dark time for me. But what I will say is that she helped me to get myself out of there for a while. But recently, she just stopped texting me, and I don't know what to do about it. Lexapro. I was about to commit suicide, but then I saw like a 7-year-old child taking a shit in the bushes. I understood that all my depression comes from my decisions. Why am I lonely, sad and depressed? I only sit inside, I never work out or even try to be a better version of myself. I understood for myself that I'm not fat and antisocial because of my depression. No, I'm depressed because I'm fat and antisocial. I hope you get my point. I never even tried to change, and the moment I did I felt a whole lot different.